Ever since high-speed rail was created in the 1960s, people have thought about different kinds of high-speed trains existing around the world. Now, high-speed trains are created to make rail transportation an efficient way to travel. So how did this happen? This is High Speed Rail Week, a 4-part documentary discussing the different kinds of high-speed trains and projects around the world and how they were created to make high-speed rail possible. There will be a daily video at noon for the next 4 days and then a full-length doc on the 5th day. Stay tuned to the Railfighting Productions YouTube channel. Chapter 1. America's first high-speed train, the Acela Express. Following the success of Japan's newly launched Shinkansen network, the High-Speed Ground Transportation Act of 1965 gave permission to the U.S. government to explore the creation of high-speed rail, which resulted in the introduction of higher Metroliner trains between Washington, D.C. and New York City in 1969. During the 1980s, the U.S. Federal Railroad Administration explored the possibilities of high-speed rail in the United States. On December 18, 1991, 5 potential high-speed rail corridors were approved, including the Northeast Corridor. In the early 1990s, Amtrak tested several different high-speed trains from Europe on the Northeast Corridor. An X2000 train was leased from Sweden for test runs from October 1992 to January 1993, followed by revenue service between Washington, D.C. and New York City from February to May and August to September 1993. Siemens showed the ICE-1 train from Germany, organizing the ICE Train North America Tour, which started to operate on the Northeast Corridor on July 3, 1993. With the testing of the European trains complete, Amtrak was able to define a set of specifications for high-speed equipment, and in October 1994, Amtrak requested bids from train manufacturers for a train set that could reach 150 miles per hour. A business of Bombardier and GEC Alstom, now today known as Alstom, was selected in March 1996. On March 9, 1999, Amtrak revealed its plan for the Acela Express, a high-speed train on the Northeast Corridor between Washington, D.C. and Boston. Several changes were made to the corridor to make it suitable for higher-speed electric trains. A pilot train set was completed by early 2000 and sent to the Transportation Technology Center in Pueblo, Colorado for testing in June 2000. An inaugural VIP run of the Acela happened on November 16, 2000, with the VIP train being led by power car number 2020 with number 2009 at the opposite end, followed by the first revenue run on December 11, 2000, a few months after the intended date. In January 2014, Amtrak issued a request for plans on 20 or more new model Acela train sets in a combined order with the California High-Speed Rail Authority. These bids were due May 17, 2014. After discussions with manufacturers, Amtrak and the California High-Speed Rail concluded their needs with too different for common rolling stock and decided not to follow the joint option. Chapter 2. Development of train sets. With the testing of the trains from Europe complete, Amtrak was able to define a set of specifications for high-speed equipment, and in October 1994, Amtrak requested offers from train manufacturers for a train set that could reach 150 miles per hour. 2 manufacturer groups named Bombardier and Alstom were selected in March 1996 to develop the train sets. On March 9, 1999, Amtrak revealed its plans for the Acela Express, a high-speed train on the Northeast Corridor between Washington, D.C. and Boston. Several changes were made to the corridor to make it capable for higher-speed electric trains. The North End Electrification Project extended existing electrification from New Haven, Connecticut to Boston to complete the overhead power supply along the 454-mile route, and several grade crossings were improved or removed. Prior to 2000, all trains bound for Boston had to switch to diesel power at New Haven. Chapter 3. High-Speed Infrastructure. The dense population of the northeastern United States makes the Northeast Corridor the most heavily traveled portion of the American passenger rail system. 2/3 of rail passengers in the United States live in or near New York City, also home to the nation's busiest passenger rail station, Penn Station. In order to compete with airliners, Amtrak needed to increase the speeds of trains in the region. The former shoreline from New Haven to Boston has a lot of sharp turns and grade crossings, with the crossings being a concern. Tilting enables passengers to ride more comfortably on curved sections of track faster than would otherwise be possible by leaning into the bend. Acela train sets use active tilting above 60 miles per hour on most of the system, but some segments of track in the Northeast Corridor are too close together for the cars to safely tilt while maintaining FRA minimum space between trains on parallel tracks. Traveling at higher than 135 miles per hour also requires constant tension catenary, which is only applied on the more modern catenary system north of New York City. South of New York City, the trains are restricted to 135 miles per hour. By comparison, the Northeast Regional and the now unused Metroliner service reached 125 miles per hour. The first Acela service began on December 11, 2000, a year behind schedule. Chapter 4. Future. On August 26, 2016, Vice President Joe Biden announced a $2.45 billion federal loan package to pay for new equipment for the Acela Express service, as well as upgrades to the Northeast Corridor. The loans will finance 28 Acela Liberty train sets that will be built by Alstom and Hornell in Rochester, New York, and will replace the existing fleet of 20 Acela train sets. The fleet expansion will allow for hourly New York to Boston service all day and half-hourly New York to Washington service at peak hours. The new train sets will be longer, have 386 seats compared to 304 on the Acela Express, and will feature active tilt technology that will initially allow service to operate at 160 miles per hour and would allow for 186 miles per hour service if advanced infrastructure improvements are completed. The Acela Liberty will enter service in 2022 and will replace the Acela Express. For more information about the Acela Liberty, click the video in the top right corner. Chapter 5. Conclusion. With the Acela Express soon to retire its fleet, the Acela Liberty will take its place to show that it will be a futuristic train that will operate for as long as it can to move people across the northeastern United States. The Acela Express will be known as the fastest train in America that started high-speed rail in the United States. Chapter 2. Japan's contribution to high-speed rail, the bullet train. Disclaimer. As I'm narrating this video, there will be Japanese words that I may pronounce wrong. I apologize in advance for any mispronunciation. Thanks, and enjoy the video. In the United States, people know the train as the bullet train, which was a nickname for the Shinkansen. The nickname stayed the way it was because of the original Zero Series Shinkansen's similarity to a bullet and of its high speed. The Shinkansen name was first used in 1940 for a standard gauge passenger and freight line between Tokyo and Shimonoseki that would have used steam and electric locomotives with a top speed of 120 miles per hour. In 1957, Odakyu Electric Railway introduced its 3000 series SE Romancy car train, setting a world speed record of 90 miles per hour for a narrow gauge train. Government approval came in December 1958, and construction of the first part of the Tokaido Shinkansen between Tokyo and Osaka started in April 1959. The Tokaido Shinkansen began service on October 1, 1964, in time for the first Tokyo Olympics. The first Shinkansen trains, the Zero Series, ran at speeds of up to 130 miles per hour, later increased to 137 miles per hour. Since 2014, Shinkansen trains run regularly at speeds of up to 200 miles per hour on the Tohoku Shinkansen. Only the Shanghai Maglev train and China Railway high-speed networks have commercial services that operate faster. Since 1970, development has also been yet to come for the Chuo Shinkansen, a planned maglev line from Tokyo to Osaka. On April 21, 2015, a 7-car L0 series maglev train set a world speed record of 375 miles per hour. Chapter 2. Train types. There are a ton of passenger trains that serve on the Shinkansen. The Zero Series entered service in 1964. The maximum operating speed is 135 miles per hour. The 100 Series entered service in 1985. This train features bi-level cars with restaurant cars and compartments. The maximum operating speed is 145 miles per hour. The 300 Series entered service in 1992 At first, it was on Nozomi services with maximum speeds up to 170 miles per hour. The 500 series entered service in 1997 with an operating speed of 185 miles per hour. The 700 series was introduced in 1999 with a maximum operating speed of 175 miles per hour. The N700 series has been in service since 2007 and has an operating speed up to 185 miles per hour. The 800 series entered service in 2004 and has a maximum speed of 160 miles per hour. The E1 series was introduced in 1994 and has a maximum speed of 150 miles per hour. The E2 series has been in service since 1997 and has a maximum speed of 170 miles per hour. The E4 series entered service in 1997 and has a maximum speed of 150 miles per hour. The E5 series has been in service since March of 2011 and has a maximum speed of 200 miles per hour. The E7 series has been in service since March of 2014 with a maximum speed of 160 miles per hour. The W7 series has been in service since March of 2015 with a maximum speed of 160 miles per hour. The 400 series was introduced in 1992 with a maximum speed of 140 miles per hour. The E3 series was introduced in 1997 with a maximum speed of 160 miles per hour. The E6 series was introduced in March of 2013 with a maximum speed of 185 miles per hour. It is now raised to 200 miles per hour. Chapter 3. Future. The future of these trains is mainly focused on increasing the speeds of the trains to make them an easier way to travel. The E5 series trains capable of up to 200 miles per hour are initially limited to 186 miles per hour and were introduced on the Tohoku Shinkansen in March of 2011. Operation at the maximum speed of 198 miles per hour between Utsunomiya and Morioka, this route beginning on March 16, 2013. It reduced the journey time to around 3 hours for trains from Tokyo to Shin Aomori, a distance of 674 kilometers. Extensive trials using the Fastech 360 test trains have shown that operation at 224 miles per hour is not currently workable because of problems of noise, pollution, particulate tunnel boom, overhead wire wear, and braking distances. On October 30th, 2012, JR East announced that it was pursuing research and development to increase speeds to 223 miles per hour on the Tohoku Shinkansen by 2020. The Alpha X is currently undergoing testing. The Hokuriku Shinkansen is being extended from Kanazawa to Tsuruga at an estimated cost of $3.04 trillion. Construction of the extension beyond Tsuruga is not expected to begin before 2030, with a projected 15-year construction period. Chapter 4. Conclusion. The country of Europe has been in the loop of consistently maintaining their trains, such as the bullet train, as the country has cleaner, faster, and reliable trains than the United States. As far as I know, Europe will maintain its trains and keep them running for as long as they can. Chapter 3. Brightline, America's first privately funded high-speed rail network. In 2012, All Aboard Florida announced plans to operate passenger rail service between Miami and Orlando. The construction was projected at the time to be $1.5 billion. In March of 2013, All Aboard Florida applied for a $1.6 billion railroad rehabilitation and improvement financing loan, which was managed by the Federal Railroad Administration. The final environmental impact statement was released on August 4, 2015. By the beginning of 2015, the company had started site work at the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and West Palm Beach stations and right-of-way improvements along stretches of the corridor. On November 10, 2015, All Aboard Florida announced that the service would operate under the name Brightline. In September 2018, Brightline acquired Express West, a private company that plans to connect Las Vegas with Southern California via Victorville, California. Brightline announced the intent of purchasing 38 acres of land near the Las Vegas Strip for a station and following the Interstate 15 corridor from Las Vegas to Southern California. Construction began on the Miami to West Palm Beach section with the laying of new tracks and closure of the temporary service lots in Government Center, downtown Miami, in mid-2014. Suffolk Construction was the general contractor for the Miami station. Piles were being set on the 4 lots of Miami Central in early 2015. On October 29, 2014, work on the Fort Lauderdale station began with the destruction of existing buildings on the site. A ceremony for the West Palm Beach station was held in November 2014. Construction work on Phase 2 between West Palm Beach and Orlando officially began in June of 2019 with a ceremony at Orlando International Airport. Prior work on the corridor began in September of 2019 in the area of Jensen Beach and Sebastian and began path clearing for construction of the Orlando to Cocoa portion in October of that year. Brightline suspended operations on March 25, 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. All train services were completely closed and the company cut 250 jobs. Construction north to Orlando continued, as well as plans for the upcoming station in Boca Raton. Throughout January 2021 and May 2021, the trains ran with no passengers sometimes, in order to test an upgraded corridor between the West Palm Beach and Miami train stations. Service resumed on November 8, 2021 between West Palm Beach and Miami, with the Orlando line about 70% complete. Chapter 2. Rolling Stock. In 2014, All Aboard Florida ordered 5 Siemens train sets. Each Brightline train set at first used 4 passenger coaches with a Siemens Charger S CB40 diesel all-electric locomotive on each end. The coach cars had interiors designed by the lab at Rockwell Group, feature ergonomic seating, Wi-Fi, level boarding, and meet ADA standards. Each train set holds 248 passengers. The entire train set, including passenger cars, were manufactured by Siemens in its solar-powered plant in Florida, California. Once the route to Orlando is in operation, the train sets will be expanded to 7 coaches, and 5 more complete train sets will be purchased. The first of 5 train sets departed the Siemens factory on December 8, 2016, and arrived in West Palm Beach on December 14th. The 5th train set arrived in South Florida in October 2017. The trains offers 2 classes of service, with 1 select coach and 3 smart coaches on each train set. Select offers 2x1 and 4-to-a-table seating with 50 to 21-inch wide seats per car and complimentary snacks and beverages, while the slightly less expensive smart fare coaches seat 66 with narrower 19-inch wide seats with snacks and beverages available for purchase. Each train set is able to hold 248 passengers. Chapter 3. Brightline West. With this section of the video being somewhat different, I'll discuss Brightline West and how this route will make a significant impact on the future of Brightline. I'll give a quick explanation of its history, the route, and the rolling stock. With that said, let's begin. Las Vegas is a gambling and tourist destination for the greater Los Angeles area, with Interstate 15 being a direct route between the 2 cities. If you want to get from Los Angeles to Las Vegas using public transit, the only option you have is Greyhound, which takes between 5 and 7 hours. The highway carries heavy traffic on Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, which causes many delays and bumper-to-bumper traffic jams. Airlines have direct flights, but traffic and security at the airport add time to the short flight, and in addition to expensive flights. Las Vegas lost its last passenger train service in 1997 when Amtrak canceled the Desert Wind. No passenger rail service hasn't run since. The original plan under the name Desert Express was to provide an alternative to automobile travel and airline travel between the Los Angeles area and the Las Vegas area along Interstate 15. The city of Victorville was selected as the location for the westernmost terminal, as extending the train line farther into the Los Angeles basin through the Canyon Pass was considered to be really expensive. Desert Express was founded in 2005 to develop, construct, own, and operate the high-speed rail project. The preparation of a first Federal Railroad Administration environmental impact statement was started in 2006. The total cost of the link between Apple Valley and Las Vegas was expected to be around $5 billion. In June 2012, the developer announced the new plan to build a network of high-speed rail for the region by expanding to Arizona, Utah, and Colorado. The initial phase was to include high-speed tracks, Las Vegas to Apple Valley and Apple Valley to Palmdale. This would allow passengers to complete a train ride between Los Angeles and Las Vegas with one transfer by using Metrolink in the Los Angeles area and a transfer to the high-speed train at Palmdale Station. The station would eventually connect with California High-Speed Rail and is designed to have the same specifications and technology, allowing it to continue on California High-Speed Rail further into Burbank and Los Angeles. The tracks are planned to be laid within the median strip of Interstate 15, and sections would pass through federal land controlled by the Bureau of Land Management and National Park Service. The line is not planned to stop at intermediate cities and would take 84 minutes to complete a one-way trip between Victor Valley and Las Vegas. In June 2012, the new plan included the link between Victor Valley and Palmdale as part of construction for the first phase of the project. Passengers would transfer to Metrolink to access the Los Angeles area. In June 2020, the company began planning on a rail line south of Apple Valley over the Canyon Pass to Rancho Cucamonga to provide more direct Los Angeles service while also not ruling out the Palmdale expansion. The service is planned to use a Siemens Velaro train. Vehicles will require a high power-to-weight ratio to climb the steep grades of up to 4.5% on the planned route. The Velaro series was designed for the German high-speed rail system, which has grades up to 4% on the Cologne to Frankfurt high-speed rail line. This is already a better climbing performance than stated by the European Union's technical specifications for interoperability, which orders a maximum grade of 35 per mile. Chapter 4. Conclusion. It's safe to say that Brightline is doing just fine building their railroad, despite their suspension of rail service during the COVID-19 pandemic. Not only is Brightline doing good building their railroad, they are also a great way to travel across Florida as they have an efficient high-speed rail to travel on. Brightline is building a better network of modern and efficient high-speed trains that may become better than Amtrak. Chapter 4. France's High-Speed Intercity Train, the TGV. The idea of the TGV was first suggested in the 1960s after Japan had begun construction of the Shinkansen in 1959. At the time, the government of France favored new technology, exploring the production of hovercraft in the Aerotrain air cushion vehicle. At the same time, the SNCF began researching high-speed trains on regular used tracks. In 1976, the administration agreed to fund the first line. By the mid-1990s, the trains were so popular that the SNCF president, Louis Gallois, announced that the TGV was the train that saved French railways. It was originally planned that the TGV would be moved by gas turbines, selected for their small size, good power-to-weight ratio, and the ability to deliver high power over an extended time. The first prototype, TGV 001, was the only gas turbine TGV at the time. TGV 001 was not a wasted prototype. Its gas turbine was only one of its many new technologies for high-speed rail travel. It also tested high-speed brakes, needed to disappear the large amount of kinetic energy of a train at high speed aerodynamics and signaling. It reached 198 miles per hour, which remains the world speed record for a non-electric train. Its interior and exterior were styled by French designer Jacques Couper, whose work formed the basis of early TGV designs, including the distinctive nose shape of the first power cars. The first electric prototype, nicknamed Zebulon, was completed in 1974, testing features such as new body mounting of motors, pantographs, suspension, and braking. In 1976, the French administration funded the TGV project, and construction of the LGV Sud to Est, the first high-speed line, began shortly afterwards. The line was given the designation LN1, also known as New Line 1, after 2 pre-production train sets had been tested and significantly modified. The first production version was delivered on April 25, 1980. The TGV opened to the public between Paris and Lyon on September 27, 1981. Different from its earlier fast services, SNCF planned TGV service for all types of passengers, with the same initial ticket price as trains on the parallel conventional line. The trains became widely popular, the public welcoming fast and practical travel. The Eurostar service began operation in 1994, connecting Europe to London via the Channel Tunnel, and the LGV Nord Europe with a version of the TGV designed for use in the tunnel in the United Kingdom. The first phase of the British High Speed 1 line was completed in 2003, the second phase in November 2007. The fastest trains take 2 hours and 15 minutes from London to Paris and 1 hour and 51 minutes from London to Brussels. The first twice-daily London to Amsterdam service ran April 3, 2018, and took 3 hours and 47 minutes. Now, the maglev remains one of the most interesting and fastest trains in the world. Chapter 2. Rolling Stock. The maglev train sets has a unique rolling stock with lots of equipment that they use. There are 5 types of equipment in use by Alstom, including the TGV Atlantique, TGV Raze, TGV Duplex, TGV POS, and the TGV 2N2. Some of the retired sets are the TGV Sud Est and the TGV La Poste. Another set is expected to enter service in 2023 called the Avilia Horizon. This is almost identical to the Avilia Liberty that will be put into service in 2024 on the Northeast Corridor in the United States. The Sud EST fleet was built between 1978 and 1988 and operated the first TGV service from Paris to Lyon in 1981. There were 107 passenger sets, of which 9 are tri-current and the rest are bi-current. There are 7 bi-current half sets without seats that carried mail for La Poste between Paris, Lyon, and Provence in a distinctive yellow livery until they were phased out in 2015. The sets were built to run at 168 miles per hour, but most were upgraded to 186 miles per hour during midlife refurbishment in preparation for the opening of the LGV Mediterranean. The few sets that still have a maximum speed of 168 miles per hour operate on routes that include a short distance on LGV, such as Switzerland via Dijon. SNCF did not consider it financially useful to upgrade their speed for a low reduction in journey time. In December 2019, the trains were phased out from service. In late 2019 and early 2020, TGV 01, which was the very first TGV train, did a farewell service that included all 3 liveries that were worn during their service. The 105-strong bi-current Atlantique fleet was built between 1988 and 1992 for their opening of the LGV Atlantique, and entry into service began in 1989. They weigh 444 tons and are made up of 2 power cars and 10 carriages with a capacity of 485 seats. They were built with a maximum speed of 186 miles per hour. The efficiency of the Atlantique with all seats filled has been calculated at 767 mpg, though with a typical occupancy of 60%, it is about 460 mpg. Modified Unit 325 set the speed record in 1990 on the LGV before its opening. Modifications such as improved aerodynamics, larger wheels, and improved braking were made to enable speeds of over 311 miles per hour. The set was reduced to 2 power cars and 3 carriages to improve the power-to-weight ratio, weighing 250 tons. 3 carriages, including the bar carriage in the center, is the minimum possible configuration because of the articulation. The first Raze sets entered service in 1993. 50 bicurrent sets were ordered in 1990, increased by 40 tricurrent sets in 1992 and 1993. 10 tricurrent sets carry the Acela livery and are known as the Acela PBA sets. They are formed of 2 power cars and 8 carriages, giving a capacity of 377 seats. They have a top speed of 199 miles per hour. The duplex was built to increase TGV capacity without increasing train length or the number of trains. Each carriage has 2 levels, with access doors at the lower level taking advantage of low French platforms. A staircase gives access to the upper level, where the gangway between carriages is located. There are 512 seats per set. On busy routes such as Paris to Marseille, they are operated in pairs, providing 1,024 seats in 2 duplex sets, or 800 in a duplex set plus a Raze set. Each set has a wheelchair-accessible compartment. After a long development process starting in 1988, the original batch of 30 was built between 1995 and 1998. Further deliveries started in 2000 with the duplex fleet now totaling 160 units, making it the backbone of the SNCF TGV fleet. Duplex TGVs are now operating on all of the French high-speed lines. The TGV POS are used on the LGV EST. They consist of 2 duplex power cars with 8 TGV Raze type carriages with a power output of 9,600 kilowatts and a top speed of 199 miles per hour. The bicurrent TGV 2N2 can be considered as the 3rd generation of duplex. The series was ordered from December 2011 for links to Germany and Switzerland, and to cope with the increased traffic due to the opening of the LGV Rhine to Rhone. They are numbered from 800 and are limited to 199 miles per hour. Chapter 3: Future TGV Trains. The design process of the next generation of TGVs began in 2016 when SNCF and Alstom signed an agreement to help develop the train sets, with goals of reducing purchase and operating costs, as well as improved interior design. The design that emerged from the process was named TGV-M, and in July 2018, SNCF ordered 100 train sets, with deliveries expected to begin in 2024. They are expected to cost $25 million per 8-car set. Chapter 4: Conclusion. It looks like France is doing well on consistently working to improve their trains, especially the TGV, as it still remains the fastest train in the world. We can hope for the best, as these trains will become more modern than they look now when it comes to creating other high-speed trains like this. Chapter 5: Conclusion. That is the end of High Speed Rail Week. If you have made it all the way to the end, you are one of my most supportive viewers, so I want to say how grateful I am for every one of you. This was my first big series that I have made on my channel, and I never knew how much of an impact it would make. Now I have a few hundred subscribers that watch my videos, and I know that I have an audience that keeps me motivated to create more content. Over the course of making this series, I have managed to create this documentary all by myself. I consider High Speed Rail Week as my best video series ever made, and I will continue to create engaging content for as long as I can. Be sure to stay tuned for more content in the future. With that said, thanks for watching.